Hello guys, welcome back. The WNBA just keeps finding new ways to create unnecessary controversy, and it's becoming impossible to ignore. Every week, there seems to be another headline that distracts from what is happening on the court. Then people wonder why fans and media continue talking about it. The truth is, many of these stories are self-inflicted. First, you've got Stephanie White making comments about not being able to scientifically identify the difference between a man and a woman, and those remarks immediately sparked debate across social media. At the same time, you've got the Portland Fire coach making comments that fuels even more discussion. Then there was the rally supporting Sophie Cunningham, where people were making strong statements that only added more fuel to the fire. But that's still not the biggest story. The Indiana Fever managed to create another controversy of their own. According to Outkick, reporters were preparing to ask Stephanie White questions following the game. Caitlin Clark, coming off another impressive triple-double, did not speak with reporters afterward. Then, just as Outkick was about to ask Stephanie White a question, the Indiana Fever suddenly ended the press conference. That decision immediately raised eyebrows, leaving reporters frustrated and fans wondering what the organization was trying to avoid discussing.
We've been professionals long enough to know that if you let that affect you, then you're not really here for the right things. And so for us, we just keep the main thing, and that's hoops.
Speaking of the outside noise,
we're going to wrap up there.
Sophie came out with...
Oh, thank you. Have a good day.
This situation just keeps getting more unbelievable. I honestly would have bet all the money in the world that it was the same person standing on the left, the one everyone says is always following the situation, who decided to shut the whole thing down. Whether that's true or not, the result is the same. You've created yet another controversy that never needed to happen. Think about it. If the press conference was ended simply because Outkick wasn't considered part of the approved WNBA media, then what message does that send? Instead of answering tough questions, you hand critics an even bigger story. Now the conversation isn't about basketball anymore. It's about media access, transparency, and whether certain outlets are being treated differently. If the goal is to grow the league, shutting reporters out isn't exactly the best strategy. Whether people agree with Outkick or not, refusing to let them ask questions only creates more suspicion. That's how another controversy is born, and it's completely avoidable. Meanwhile, emotions were already running high elsewhere. During the Portland game, fans loudly booed Sophie Cunningham, creating another tense moment that quickly spread across social media. Between the Indiana Fever press conference, Stephanie White, Outkick, and now the reaction towards Sophie Cunningham, the WNBA once again finds itself dominating headlines for reasons that have very little to do with the action on the court. In Portland, as Sophie Cunningham checks into the game, several fans waving small transgender pride flags as well. They booed Sophie Cunningham, and this is Stephanie White. After, I think this might have been before the game, actually, the Fever, coach Stephanie White, is asked her stance on males playing in women's sports.
Our player Caitlin Clark was kept away from reporters last night after posting a triple-double as she continues to face race-based attacks. And then Clark's head coach, Stephanie White, well, she didn't want biological men kicked out of women's sports, and she made that pretty clear.
I don't know that I would say that I'm educated enough from a scientific standpoint. I don't ever believe that exclusion is an answer. I just don't. I do think, when we think about various levels of sport, various governing bodies of sport and things that go into that, like I said, I'm not educated enough at the different levels. I know growing up, I played with the boys all the time.
Not educated enough. Well, this comes as Clark's teammate Sophie Cunningham, who might be educated enough, well, she was booed for wanting to protect those female athletes. Some players even bailed on a press conference when asked what they thought about Cunningham and her stance. Take a look.
Speaking of that outside noise, Sophie, your teammate, Sophie came out with
Oh, thank you. Have a good day. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
The fans, however, they rallied for Cunningham in Portland ahead of last night's game. And they have another rally planned for tomorrow's game in Minnesota, where Coach Cheryl Reeve has said, quote, "Separate isn't equal and trans lives matter." All right, Tommy, gotta come to you first on this. There's a whole lot to unpack here, but I want to go back to the I might not be educated enough to know that men don't belong playing on a basketball court or on any sport for that matter against women.
Look like a hostage video. I have to give a lot of credit, by the way, to Outkick, who's been at these press conferences. When you saw those players leave, it's because Outkick was asking the tough questions. We appreciate them for their reporting. I'm not a scientific specialist either, but I can tell woman, man, and I just did it. I also like this point at the end where separate is not equal, trans lives matter. Okay, then to that rationale, then you guys should just play in the NBA, and we'll see how many of you make it. I mean, you know how stupid it is to say, like, you can't separate men and women. Your league literally exists because you separated men and women. That's the only reason the WNBA is a thing, and they are doing their damnedest to make sure it's not a league anymore, by the way. It's become a joke of a league, and not for the wonderful women that are playing in it, but for some of them that are serving as giant distractions. That's not Sophie, and that's not Caitlin. It's the rest of these morons who want to kill their golden goose, want to make everything about race, who are betting on their own games, by the way. That's a whole other controversy, and they can't tell the difference between a man and a woman. I mean, I digress.
You know, and Kevin, to the point about killing the golden goose here, it seems that Caitlin Clark has to basically hide her face instead of being the celebrated champion of the entire league, which she is.
Yeah.
But she can't even revel in her own glory at this point.
She had a triple-double, fourth, and they wouldn't even let her address the media because they don't want the controversy. And I've said this for the longest time. Either you are about winning over new fans and celebrating and growing your league, or you're an advocacy group. Take a pick. If you really want to make women's basketball better, greater, pay them more money, then you should celebrate and grow the league with people like Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark. If you're an advocacy group, then just be that, and we can stop talking about it because nobody will care. Not that a lot of people care anyway.
Joey, I know that you love women's basketball and you watch every single WNBA game. Give us your thoughts. That was sarcasm.
Yeah, listen, I hope both teams have fun. I don't know. I mean, listen, the Caitlin Clark story was fun even when it was in college because there was a whole rivalry there with Angel Reese, who, like you said, has her own troubles right now. But, you know, the thing about Sophie Cunningham is, like, she's always good for the meme of the week or, like, the post of the week, like the pointing thing, and she embraces it. And she does it in a way where she doesn't have to say much to, like, embrace it. And she just has this like arrogance about her that, or I don't know if it's not cockiness, it's just
confidence.
Like
This is where the conversation gets even more confusing. The league keeps talking about growth, but then turns around and says it also wants to insulate itself from certain opinions. Those two ideas don't really work together. If you're inviting new fans into the WNBA, you're going to have people with different viewpoints. That's simply part of expanding your audience. Stephanie White was asked directly about the issue, and instead of giving a clear yes or no answer, she said she wasn't educated enough from a scientific standpoint to answer the question. Critics immediately called it a dodge. Whether people agree or disagree with her response, it became another headline because the question wasn't answered directly. The same criticism was aimed at Portland coach Alex Sarama. He said he doesn't believe exclusion is the answer, but many people pointed out that sports already have categories based on age, weight, and competition level. That's the argument Riley Gaines and others continue to make whenever this debate comes up. Meanwhile, the Indiana Fever added more attention by ending a press conference before Outkick could ask its questions. Instead of reducing controversy, the move created even more discussion about media access and transparency. The WNBA says it wants to grow, but growth usually means welcoming broader audiences and more media coverage. Caitlin Clark has brought millions of new eyes to the league, and Sophie Cunningham has also become a major talking point. Whether people like it or not, bigger stars attract bigger conversations. That's how leagues expand. Tell me what you think in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.